I recommend you check these 6 points before choosing your kite school. Find out more in this series, How to Choose a Kite School. My name is Tiago Rocha, and I've been teaching for more than 10 years, covering more than 25,000 hours of teaching hours that are logged on to IKEO. In this video, I'll show you my experience in finding the best kitesurfing school, starting off with location. So the first thing you should know is how to find a good kitesurfing spot. It's only natural your kitesurfing school has done the same. One of the first things you will learn is how to do a spot check, where you'll check the wind, the water, and land. First of all, let's look at the wind direction, quality, and strength. You'll probably learn that for your practice, you should look for spots that have side onshore winds. But not all locations are like this, and they're still suitable for kitesurfing. Let's break down all the wind directions and find out how those schools should cope with these wind directions. One of the first ones you will hear is that it's not good to kite with offshore winds. And it's true unless you have a rescue boat. So if your school works with an offshore wind conditions, they should have a rescue boat ready to pick you up whenever you go away. The problem of this wind direction is that everybody's going to be riding parallel to the shore, making it more of a confusion and more of a stress when everybody's using the same line. Onshore is another problem, but it's a hidden one. You'll think, I'll always go back to the beach, so there's no problem. But the problem is exactly that. If you get blown away because of getting too much power and get pushed against the beach, that can be a problem because you'll have a lot of obstacles, land, and you can get hurt. So in this case, you also need a boat to basically pull you out before you start and make sure you stop before you actually reach the beach. The problem again here subsides that everybody's riding on the same line, so it's again a little bit more tricky. Then we have side onshore conditions. This is actually way better because you'll be going away into the beach and get gradually blown back to the beach. How much of onshore can make the difference? So if it's really just a little bit, it's fine, but when it becomes a lot of onshore, it can be that you go too fast and you have a hard time to get away from the beach, especially in wavy conditions. Then we have side shore. Side shore allows you to go and come back to the beach and increases the places that you can actually use. Everybody will have their own line, which will be perpendicular to the beach, allowing you to go, come back, and just have a lot of space to practice. If you have a problem, you naturally don't get pushed back to the beach, but you actually have much more space to guide yourself back to the beach as well. The strength of the wind is another factor to consider. It should be adequate to your level. Your equipment that you use, the line length, should be also adapted to the exercise that you are practicing. It is important to learn skills in strong and light winds, as you will never know when you get to the beach what conditions you're going to practice in. Learning with both of them allows you to maximize your progression. Sometimes it will seem that in light winds your progression is slower than usual because you struggle a little bit more to relaunch the kite, for instance. But these techniques are really important for you to progress, as you will always go to the beach and you might encounter these kind of conditions. So learning them with an instructor will maximize your potential riding when you go on yourself. The quality of the wind is another factor to observe. So the wind should be clean and shouldn't be gusty at all. The problem of being gusty a lot of times is determined by obstacles that we have to the wind. So if we have a place where the wind passes through obstacles, it will become turbulent and it will so be a lot harder for you to control. I recommend clean wind coming from the ocean that has no obstacles if possible, and this is what you should look for as well. So when looking for a kite school, ask where their primary location is, check for the most common wind direction, and see if they have a boat to help teaching or rescuing. On land is another thing that we should check. Make sure the beach is clear of obstacles or you find a good launching space. Usually every beach that you go to, all riders will use the same place to launch and land, and it kind of commonly gets that to be the launch and landing location. Check if it's a good one. On launching and landing, that's where the majority of the accidents happen, so make sure it's a good place to launch them. We're going to practice it on water, so you should check also how the water is. Check above the water, check underground, Check also the temperature and currents. So above, you can find a place that has flat water, waves, or choppy. Best is flat water, as it's one less thing to worry about. If the place has waves, take in consideration that it will take a little bit longer for you to learn, but these skills are necessary to become a fully independent rider. An independent rider should be able to ride in flat and in wave conditions. If you only had lessons in flat water, make sure to make at least one more lesson in waves to get used to them. It's a lot of fun to ride on the waves, so don't miss out a session on them. Choppy conditions are a mix of the two. It's not waves, it's not flat, and so it has the advantages and disadvantages of both. Underground, we should check a few things. Check if the spot is shallow or deep. If it has sand or rocks. Find out with the school or other users how the spot is. Shallow areas allow the instructor to be closer to you in a more natural way. In deeper areas, the instructor has to hold on to you in order to make sure he's close. Make sure the spot is not too shallow. Waist deep is a good rule of thumb. You need some depth to practice the exercises in order not to get hurt. So if it's too shallow, it's also not a good place. Currents are critical and a lot of times not that visible. If you have current against your wind direction, you'll get a little bit more power. If you have the current in favor, you'll lose strength. Also, it's important to find out where you're going to get pulled in case of an emergency. One other thing to consider is the activity on the spot. Who do you have at the beach? Is it a beach that also has surfers, windsurfers, or other users? Find that out as well, because a crowded beach is never a good thing. You're learning a new sport, you're still not comfortable with your equipment, you're not in full control, so having a lot of people around you can be very stressful. So if you can have a place that only has kite surfers that understand the sport, sometimes is way better. So in checking how to find the best kite school for you to do your first lessons, try to find out in a beautiful location that has not a lot of crowd with side on shore winds, that has a rescue boat to help you on a not that shallow area that you can enjoy. This is what we found in Esposende, and that's why Cookproof is here. Make sure you don't miss any new tips by subscribing to this channel, activating the notifications, and just leave me a comment on the section of the comments below so that I can find out what's your idea and what you think about all these videos that we're posting.